welcome everyone to another week, another episode of the Focus TV. This is season 8, episode 13. We're joined by Octavia Wyatt, Malik Miller. We got Cardo Dudley Jr. here. I am Wilson Tarpe Jr. And we're going to get straight to it, folks. You guys know what this is each and every week. Octavia, you got a couple weeks. We got Combine and all that good stuff. So you get a little bit of reprieve since your team won the championship and whatnot. But it's up in for Ray this week. We get straight to the Washington Wizards. For everyone who is not aware, we had All-Star Weekend this past weekend in the NBA. That said, the Wizards played a couple games before we got to the break. So we will discuss that before moving on to our college segment. Let me get that up 1 second. Here we go. All right, for the Wizards, they lost to the Spurs 131-121. And then they fell to the Pacers in overtime, 134-130. Again, this was right before the All-Star break. We encourage you to get over to our Roku channel to catch the respective episodes of Wizards Outlook, also known as our regular game recaps, following those games for an in-depth breakdown. The one against Indiana hurt a little bit because they were in control for the most part, but not doing the little things, which we've been talking about all year long. Cardell, you can attest to this. They just don't check boxes at times when they have games in control. They had a chance in this one. They had Indiana on their heels, and Obi Toppin got going. Obi Toppin, Ben Mathurin, they got a little bit of help from TJ McConnell, but those two really spearheaded the rally for the Pacers and led them to handing Washington a 4-point loss in overtime. One of the things that happened late in that game was Jordan Poole had it going for much of the game, but towards maybe the last minute of regulation and definitely in OT, feel like the Wizards every offensive possession, it was really Jordan Poole or bust, and Indiana was okay with that. We saw them load up on him late in the game, and they were able to get out of this game with a W because the ball was moving on their side of the floor. It wasn't as much for Washington. Washington is currently 9-45 on the season as we officially head into the second half. They start the second half by hosting Milwaukee this weekend. I could think of so many more teams that would be better suited to start the second half of the season against than Milwaukee. However, the Wizards were represented. That organization was represented this past weekend by 3 of their players in the All-Star Weekend via the Rising Star Challenge. They had Bilal Coulibaly, Alex Sarr, and Bub Carrington all taking part this weekend. Some things I think I can speak for Cardell Ray and myself. We'd like to keep an eye on going forward. Washington is, as we've entered this second half of the season, legitimately a more concerted effort on the defensive end. We've been talking about this all year long. It's something that has to happen. They've done it in spurts. Like to see it more often. They've been a tad bit different of a team after the trade deadline. But the other thing, which we've talked about all year, more and more reps for the youngsters. This first year, we want to get them as much experience as possible. They've been able to. They all got a great opportunity in the first half of this regular season to get experience. I'm looking forward to see what they do in the second half season and see what they may have learned from the first half, right? Then lastly, just want them to fight this all the way out. Don't do the thing teams do. We're just obviously embrace the tank. Obviously, that's something many teams do, but fight out. You have a lot of demons to exercise to come up out of this to get back to where you would like to be. Obviously, conversely, we saw the Commanders kind of do it, but it took a wholesale change from the very tippity top all the way down for that to happen. Washington Wizards, don't foresee that happening for them anytime soon in terms of that type of wholesale change. But looking forward to seeing how this ends, this second half of the season goes, and we'll check in with you guys later this week for several episodes of Wizards Outlook. But we're going to head into our college segment. Cardell, going to start with you, then we'll get to Malik, and I'll follow up with the Terps. But go ahead, Cardell.
Okay, yeah, man, we're going to start on a couple player of the weeks from a couple local products. Starting in American East, Brian men's basketball senior Earl Timberlake was named American East Player of the Week on Monday. The honor comes on the heels of a dominant 2-game performance for Timberlake, in which he averaged 20.5 points per game, 10.5 rebounds, 4.5 assists, and wins over NJIT and UMBC. Timberlake picks up his second weekly honor of the year. Timberlake posted back-to-back 20-point double-doubles, giving him 5 double-doubles in the last 7 games. He started the week with 21 points on 10 of 11 shooting. Watch him in 10 rebounds and 3 assists as Brian raced past NJIT. Timberlake then helped the Bulldogs hold off UMBC on Saturday, finishing with 20 points, 11 rebounds, and 6 assists. Again, DC native, local product, played at DeMatha. Started his career, I believe, in Miami, transferred to Memphis, finishing up at Bryant. He's second in American East currently with 11 double-doubles and is averaging 15 points, 10.2 rebounds, 4.6 assists, and 2.4 blocks in conference play. Brian returns to the floor Thursday night as they take on the dominant team in that conference, Vermont, in a big game. So you may want to tune into that if you're a basketball fan, if you're a DMV basketball fan, especially tune into that because it's going to go a long way towards positioning for the conference tournament and obviously momentum if they meet up in the conference tournament to determine who gets to the NCAA tournament. It's a one big league, so it's ultra competitive right now, and a lot of teams are fighting for that spot. All right, second player of the week goes to Howard freshman guard Blake Harper, who received Rookie of the Week honors. The 6'5" guard averaged 15.5 points, 7.5 rebounds, 4.5 assists, and 1 steals in a one-on-one week for the Bison over a week ago. Harper tallied his 4th double-double of the season in the win over Maryland Eastern Shore, recording 13 points with 11 rebounds, 6 assists, and 2 steals. He added 18 points to Lee Howard in a loss to Delaware State. But then he followed that up right after the Rookie of the Week and Player of the Week awards were announced on Monday. They had a game at Eastern Shore. He followed that up with a monster performance, a 34.8 rebound, 5 assists performance in a win over University of Maryland Eastern Shore. Shooting 12 or 16 from the field and 3 or 4 from deep. Young fella has been getting it done. I know people kind of gravitate towards the big hype schools, in the area or whatnot, but he's putting on a show for Howard, man, and he's actually carrying them in a lot of games, which is great to see considering he's a freshman, leading the way, for a tournament team from last year, and man, he's keeping them afloat, and they're gonna be a tough out because of him, man. Proud of him. Young fella, got mutual ties. The Myers. That's my guy Von Myers' godson. So been hearing about him throughout his high school career. I actually played for Gonzaga. Came up to Jim Couch a couple years ago. He was a reserve, kind of, under the radar, so to speak, but he's blossoming right before our eyes, man. And it's great to see. It's always great to see the hidden gems just come out of nowhere and just do their thing, especially locally. So, just keep an eye on them and keep an eye on Howard, man. He's definitely a show. Next up, obviously, GW men's basketball. They defeated Davidson for a big-time road win, 74-67. They built a 16-point first-half lead at Davidson, then held off a Wildcat charge in the second half to pull out the win. The win elevated the Revolutionaries ahead of the Wildcats in the A-10 standings. It's their 17th win of the season, which guarantees the program's first winning season in 8 years. GW officially, they built a 29-13 lead with 5 minutes to go in the first half. However, as most games, the opposing team made a run. GW went cold for the rest of the half, and Davidson closed on a 14-3 run to close the gap to a 32-27 halftime deficit for Davidson's side of it. The Wildcats continued to claw back after halftime. They tied the game on 4 separate occasions in the second half, but on every single ensuing possession, GW scored to retake the lead, and GW never let Davidson take the lead. Even though they tied it once or they got close. GW never let them get ahead. Then GW they secured the win from the free throw line. They made 8 of their final 10 free throws, finishing 19-26 overall on the day. Rafael Castro. He's going to be a all A10 selection. It's just a matter of it's going to be first team, second team, or something like that. He's been dominant all throughout conference play. 20 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 steals in his outing. He shot 6 to 7 from the floor and 8 to 10 from the line. Christian Jones, redshirt freshman point guard, keep an eye on him. He has a chance to be special. Drew, he had a couple 3-pointers in the second half that were huge to keep them out in front. He finished with 12 points and 4 assists. And Gerald Drumgoole Jr. and Jacoby Hutchinson, they both finished with 11 points. GW would next host St. Joseph on Wednesday. And obviously over the weekend, a thrilling win for George Mason. After trailing by as much as 16 points in the first half, their top 10 nationally ranked defense, it showed up in the second half. The stifling defense, they utilized their stifling defense and the offensive explosion from forward Jalen Hayes to battle back in the second half to defeat a tough St. Joseph team, 58-57. The Patriots improved to 21-5 overall, 12-1 in A10 play, and extended their win streak to 11 games. I believe they've won 17 of their last 19 games. They haven't lost a game since November. Haynes, they haven't lost a game since December. My apologies. Haynes, who was unstoppable in the second half, scored a game-high 22 points, 16 of which came in that second half. He carried them in the second half in that offensive explosion for George Mason to make their comeback. He pulled down also a game-high of 8 rebounds and dished out 2 assists. Reserve guard KD Johnson added 9 points and 4 rebounds and 4 of 6 shooting to pace the Patriots. Now we all get what we kind of was looking forward to. Big matchup is on the horizon as George Mason travels this Saturday to take on second place VCU, who's literally a game behind George Mason. The big talk is should the A10 get 2 bids in the NCAA tournament? I feel they should. I think the damage that George Mason and VCU, the damage that they've done all season warrants it. But obviously, if you're one of those teams, you don't want to leave it in the hands of the committee with the political ties and everything that might be in the mix with that. So you want to handle business and control your own destiny. So pretty much that game would determine a lot. You win that game, that goes a long way towards making sure you reach the NCAA tournament. Regardless if you don't go deep in the A10 conference tournament, that win would determine a lot. So if you're, forget just a local basketball fan, if you're a basketball fan in general, you may want to tune in. Forget me, you should tune into that game. It's going to be a heavyweight battle, man. Both teams, I saw VCU last week at GW. They get after defensively. They're not far behind George Mason defensively. If George Mason top 10, I believe VCU is like a top 15, top 20 defense as well. So they're right there, man. So it's going to be a dogfight, and that's what you want at this time of the year. So if you love basketball, definitely tune in on Saturday. But for further analysis, check out all new episode All Around on finestmade.com. I go very in depth about that game and who stood out and what occurred.
All right, we get into that fun time of the college season. Conference play winding down. We got conference tournaments, and then the big dance getting closer and closer. All right, Malik, we'll pass it on to you.
Absolutely. I have 2 players of the week for my piece of the segment. One is from Jalen Haynes from George Mason and a 58-57 victory over St. Joe's. He was the only player for their team to score in double figures. He had 22 points, 8 for 16 from the field, shooting at 50%, 8 rebounds, and they were able to extend their home record to 15-1. Like I said previously, they were down 16 points in the first half, and they were able to rally back. This game was their 11th win straight, and it's time for their second longest record in George Mason history. It's also the third longest record, and nationally right now. So they're gaining. Like said previously, George Mason and VCU, they're fighting for first place in the A10. So it's going to be a great game on February 22nd in Richmond. Their coach, Tony Skins, said early in the game that for the first 20 minutes, he felt like they were giving the game away. But they rallied back. I might say they come back in the second half, only allowing the team to score 20 points. He said that's indicative of who they are. He also indeed said this deserves all the credit. They deserve all the credit down the stretch. I don't care how you get it, I'll take it. The Patriots held a 30-20, 32-20 scoring edge in the second half and limited the Hawks to just 33% shooting in the stadium, 7 for 21. During the comeback, George Mason held St. Joe's to scoring droughts at the 4-minute mark, the 420-minute mark, and the 8-minute mark. To go just with Jalen Haynes being the player of the week, just his team effort as a whole to be able to stay number one, to be able to be trailing at from 37 to 26 at the half, going on a 12-0 run, started by him, including 10 of his points to go up 38 to 37 at the 15 minute mark in the second half. Just to be able to rally back and to win the game by a point. He's carrying them. I'm about to say he carried that game. Every piece of this George Mason puzzle is being productive, is getting to where they need to go. My second player of the week will be Doug McDaniel, Washington D.C. native. Previously he was at Michigan University. Now he's finishing up his ball at Kansas State. He just recently hit the 1,000 point mark as a junior, and that's amazing. His last 4 games have been great games. He played at Kansas. They were able to win 81-73. We played 36 minutes, 15 points, 11 assists, double there, and a steal. Next game they traveled, they beat, and this is number 16 Kansas. Then they traveled back home to beat number 13 ranked Arizona 73-70. He had 24 points, 5 steals, 3 assists, 4 rebounds. The game after that, they traveled to BYU. He scored 22 points with 2 assists. And then he played against Utah, where he scored 13 points and 6 assists, where he indeed broke the 1,000 point record mark, and I think he's sitting at about 1,004 points right now. He's a smaller guard, 5'11", 175, but at the WCAC level, being a good council guy, he got it done playing football and basketball, and at the college level, he's getting it done playing, leading the point guard position at just such a great altitude, being only 5'11". He's scoring 33 points last year against Oregon in December. He scored 33 points against Florida. He scored 20 points against Ohio State this year, 20 points with Purdue this year. So he can get the ball in the basket. He can assist the ball. When he was at Michigan, he had a high of 9 assists. So he's coming along. He's definitely somebody to be on the boards. Definitely a dual threat point guard, a 3-level point guard, can get some things done. And just shout out to him and his team for even allowing him to be in position to do that this year. The college season isn't over, but he roughly came in at about 700 points coming into Kansas State, and he's been getting it. He's been putting the ball in the basket early to make him be able to obtain this accomplishment. So shout out to him. Shout out to Jalen Haynes and the rest of George Mason's team.
All right, moving on to College Park for the Maryland woman. Every time, the last couple times we checked in with you guys, they're in the thick of conference play. They've been dealing with injuries or whatnot. That said, it is that time of the year. Multiple teams have people missing. Nobody cares. There's no time for excuses, anything of that nature. So I'll let you guys know what's been going on at College Park. Last week, they had 2 games, the first of which was against Nebraska at home. Maryland started out that game strong, but Nebraska wrestle controlled the game in the second half. The visitors would outscore Maryland 28-14 in the pivotal third quarter. They were led by Alexis Markowski's 20 points and 11 rebounds, big double-double for Alexis Markowski. For the Terps, it was tough because you had an opportunity to go into that game, go into that week, leave that week rather, and go 2-0 in a week. Instead, they start the week 0-1. I don't want to say they've been up and down in conference play, but they've had some weeks where they've went 2-0. They've had some weeks when they went 0-2 in conference play. We know that stretch where they were trying to figure out life without Shai Sellers and life without Bree McDaniel. That said, they had an opportunity to bounce back against Michigan, but Nebraska beat Maryland 91-71, a humbling loss in their own building. And then we got to see how Maryland would respond. They would take on Michigan on President's Day at home. Maryland had to rally because they went down as many as 10 points midway through the first half. They would use a 13-1 rally, 13-1 run, to settle themselves. Maryland was led by Serete Biasu's 19 points, 14 of which came in the second half. Cheyenne Sellers added 18 points and 5 assists. Seller Poffenberger added 12 points in the win. Up next, Maryland will hit the road to face Northwestern. The Terps are now 20-6 on the year, 10-4 in conference play. Some noticeable benchmarks that were reached during this win, with 5 assists in the win over Michigan. Cheyenne Sellers became the first player in program history to record 1,500 points, 500 rebounds, and 500 assists in a career. So just want to take 2 seconds to shout out to Cheyenne for that. That's a hell of an accomplishment. Some outstanding ladies have played in College Park. 1,500, 500, 500 is absurd. And then Brenda hit a milestone. With Maryland winning their 20th game of the season, she eclipsed the 600 win mark earlier this season, just a couple games ago. She's now at 602. This was her 20th 20-win season in her 23 seasons at Maryland. So gotta show love to a consistent standard that Maryland's been able to reach under her leadership. Again, that's her 20th 20-win season. 23 seasons. Shout out to Brenda for that. But up next, again, for Maryland, they'll be on the road to face Northwestern. Then they have another road game. Then they end the season at home against Ohio State. So they have a chance. Again, their conference record right now is 10-4. They have a chance to improve upon this record. Try to get that double bye in the conference tournament, which Cardell will tell you goes a long way. One thing you don't want to do is be in that situation where you're playing every day of a conference tournament. Nobody, and I mean nobody, wants that. So we'll check back in with you guys next week to let you know how they fare on that part of their journey, which is trying to finish the conference play strong. Cardell, pass it on to you.
Yeah, for just to go back to what you were saying, piggyback off what you were saying, it's tough to do, but it's possible. NC State did it last year, so but you don't want to be in that position. It's hell. Look, man, we're gonna start with Take It or Leave It. All-Star Weekend was this weekend. A lot of stuff to discuss. A number of topics I'm gonna throw at y'all. I just want to hear your thoughts on it. First of all, let's just start with the obvious. The All-Star Game format. Take it or leave it. Octavia, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave it. I mean, I understand why they did it because they're trying to generate something, but it was just too much. It was so confusing at one point. I was like, who's this 4-team? First it was Chris Mullins' team, and then it turned into Team Candace, and then they were right. It was just a lot. And I mean, I don't know if maybe part of this was also because this is TNT's last time having the All-Star Game, so maybe they wanted to do something to include them more as well. I saw a picture of a stat from this where they said that All-Stars, I think it was Saturday night or Sunday, it might have been Sunday, All-Star Sunday, it was like 33 minutes of gameplay, and it was like 2 hours and 15 minutes of commercials and whatever else they decided to do. So it was just like, what am I watching? On top of that, I'm sure we'll get to this and I won't go too deep into it, but players pulling out and saying that they're not playing at the last second. It was just, I feel like the players are going to say that, it generated them playing harder to some degree, but I'm just like, why do they have to do this to make y'all play harder? Like, that just sounds stupid to me. But I mean, I watched it just because I felt like I needed to see what it was, but I could have gone without watching it. I wouldn't have lost any sleep over it.
Elite.
Yeah, the format, I think it took longer to put together than it was for the games to be played, honestly. The games were running to 40 points, so 5 3-pointers is 15. Guys not getting their hands up for minimum 5 shots. That's nearly half of the points right there. So we only playing for another 7 to 10 more buckets. So um and then some of the All Stars said it. I forgot who lost first, but one of them said, he lost first, so he couldn't even. He was only out there for 10 minutes. His All Star, his All Star might have been his first All Star game, only a 10-minute experience for the guys that get the first year bid of being an all-star and things like that. So I don't like how the setup was. The tournament style is cool. Just got to make a better tournament style. I'm only used to it being 10 starters, not 20 starters. So that was new too. I just got to think they just need to fix it up a little bit.
Wilson.
Man, sometimes you don't need to mess with stuff. Again, I go back to the greatest motivator for folks today. Shane, throw the world team out there. Let's get it over with. Throw the world team out there. Throw the world team out there. You got a chance. You got all these documentaries out right now, whatnot. Folks seem to have pride when they're playing for their country and whatnot. Shame. Lose at All-Star Weekend. Lose every 4 years. Whatever you want to. Just shame. Shame. But yeah, this wasn't it. Like Malik said, you can even comfortably get into a game because if somebody got hot, the game was over. And Lord knows no one's going to actually start the game trying to play defense. So that's at least a half. And then, that's all I got on it.
Look, man, my thoughts on it. Look, the format's cool. I don't get why a lot of the players are complaining about it. The reason why it's this way is because of you guys not taking it serious. I get it. The Rising Stars and Young Bucks, they haven't earned the right to play on that stage on Sunday. Not yet. You're right. But I still appreciate it's not their fault. I mean, they got the opportunity, take it. With that being said, I appreciate how they came with it. They came with it. They forced those boys to have to play. And keep in mind, that All-Star stage is different. I think I tell everybody, when we first started covering the Wizards, because your regular season, we got used to it. But then all of a sudden, when the playoffs came, we walked in the gym like, hold on, whoa. You saw lights that was on that we didn't even know was in the arena. You saw extra seats. They moved the whole arena, turned it all around. It looked like a totally different arena for the playoffs. That's when it really hits you on how it's a different stage when you go from regular season to the first round, second round. It's a different stage. So the All-Star stage is unique. And them young boys came in and played for the most part, where some of them could have been blinded by the spotlight. You know what I mean? So I don't believe you could throw heat their way, man. They got the opportunity and they went in there and played. And honestly, I think they set the tone because they went at the OGs and made them have to play. One idea that I heard that I think will go a long way is instead of the Rising Stars, make that other team snubs, the guys that you didn't put in. Because see, they're gonna be pissed. Like a team where I know if everybody would have played, let's say everybody would have played originally, you'd have had Trae Young and Kyrie and Devin Booker and Sabonis and all that. They came with it. And like, yo, y'all messed up. Y'all got me messed up out here. You see what I'm saying? And I'm like, we about to show y'all. That would have improved the competitiveness. This is not rocket science, man. If they compete, we're not even in this position. We're talking about the game. And for the youngest, it's nostalgia and all that stuff. That has nothing to do with it. Just like anybody, when you go into a basketball game, you want to see competitive basketball. I don't care if it's high school, college, or the pros. It's damn sure the pros. Just compete. We ain't asked you to play like it's Game 7. Compete. Because once upon a time, the All-Star game, you was looking forward to it. You was like, oh, man, can they? That's why I always hold 2001 in such high regard, because not only did the East win and AI led the way and all that, people don't realize leading up to that, the talk was how the West was going to beat the brakes off of them, dog, like smack them. even with Shaq, and like y'all too small, y'all team full of guards, y'all have no chance. And then Mutombo got out there, just blocking everything, grabbing 20 boys, and it became about pride. And them boys hooped down the stretch, and they got the win. And if you just look at it, how they were celebrating, and if you look at it, how the West team was just blown, like, damn, I can't believe we lost. You understand? That's what we want as fans watching it. That's what we want. For those of us old enough to have lived through that, that was a great All-Star game. And they were celebrating like they damn near, like they was about to win a championship somewhere. We can get back to that. So that's all we asking for. Now, one other thing, we're gonna get to more topics, but as far as the format, I get TNT is their last time doing it. They want to go out with a bang. But I do side with the players on this part. It's too much going on. It's just too much going on, dog. Like, no disrespect, man. Kevin Hart's a great comedian, funny as hell and all that. No disrespect. I don't know who the white boy was, MCing and all that. No one wants to see them. Get them up out of here, bro. Like, y'all, basketball for most players is a rhythm game. If I'm going to hoop for, like, say, 10 to 15 minutes, and then you sit me for damn near half an hour, I gotta warm up again, man. Like, you throwing me off. You see what I'm saying? Like, everyone knows Kevin is a rhythm player. It took him a minute to get in a flow because it was just these breaks. And you could see in the background the players doing high knees, jumping around, jumping jacks, light jaws, just to stay warm through a whole bunch of nonsense that I think I speak for most people didn't want to see to begin with. Like, I literally turned it off when they started joking and all that stuff. It was concerts, let me turn this off and come back. Turned it off, came back 10, 15 minutes later, it's still going on. I'm like, come on, man. Like, get to the game. It's just a bunch of BS that's totally unnecessary. So I get why the players get annoyed. It's just too much going on. Let them play the game. And Malik, back to this point, and this was obviously thrown out there after the game. Oh, you gotta allow these players to the format messes up guys who should be playing because they only get, like, certain guys only got like 8 minutes, 7 minutes to get. Come on, man. I think Jalen Brunson was one of the players that got like 8 minutes. Now, you know, the joke was that New York Knicks fans was happy, like, hell yeah, because we know Tibbs gonna play on 40 in the first game back. You know what I'm saying? But that's neither here nor there, man. Like, these all-star games are not guaranteed, man. Like, we've seen it happen throughout some all-time great players. They seem like, yeah, you got it for the next 10, 15 years. And then things happen. Other players emerge. Injuries happen. You're not the same player. And you're not that. So you can't take these moments for granted. And, you know, with guys not being able to play because of the format, they lost in the first whatever game and all that. It's just not cool. They gotta revamp it. But bottom line, just take it back to East and West. Take it back to East and West, and get the right guys in there. And I'm not even mad if they throw the incentive in there, man. You know what I'm saying? And a big incentive, because think about it, you're throwing a lot of money out there anyway for all the little antics and shows and stuff like that. Put that money in the pot for the winner. Like, really make it real. Like, all right, winning team get $1 million, losing team you get $100K. That will matter. They would start this. Oh, hold up, man. I ain't trying to get $100K, though. We doing all this. We might as well win it. At some point, competitive pride will kick in. Or I like the idea of making it international versus NBA. Because the international players can always show pride. And it's not everybody that was, look, for the most part, the format did force guys to play more competitive than we've seen over the last few years. I will say that when they were playing. Like, I will say that. You know what I mean? Like, shout out to Trae Young. Shout out to Kyrie. Kyrie's picking up full court, dog. You know what I'm saying? Like, really bump. And we know he's going to dance on offense. We ain't even got to worry about that. And SGA, Jokic, guys was getting after it. Like, for real. You know, and I appreciate that. That's all we want. Why can't you just do that for a full 48? And then this is nothing to complain about. It's really that simple. So the format is cool in a sense, but it just needs some minor tweaking. But obviously, let's just get back to the original format. You know, they either gonna play hard or they not. It's as simple as that. The next one, we gotta talk about players sitting out, man. Bron and Anthony Edwards, man, to be exact. It's not that they made the decision to sit out last minute. What are your thoughts on that? I'm gonna start back with you, Octavia, because you ain't have a lot of time to talk.
I thought it was real weak of both of them, to be fair. I think LeBron set out a game previous to the All Star break. I think it was February 8th or something like that, due to foot soreness. So you knew then you weren't playing an All Star game. Like, let's just be real. And this is the reason why some people have issues with LeBron and how he moves. There were, of course, other people that would have been deserving of his spot. We talked about Norman Powell. There are other people who, DeMontis Sabonis, whoever out in the West that could have had opportunities to play in this game for whatever reason that they felt like they wanted to play in it. But to do that, I think they said that he didn't show up to any of the events over the weekend. I think they said he showed up an hour before the game started. And then he didn't even have the decency to wear the warm-up uniform or anything. Like, Giannis told them in advance that he wasn't going to be able to play. He showed up to all of the events. He wore the warm-ups or whatever. He supported his teammates. LeBron went out there as an individual, and I think that was a big fu to the league, especially because you're supposed to be somebody that's always going to be somewhat of the face of the league, regardless if you're here or if you're not. I just thought it was a terrible look for him. Same for Anthony Edwards, and then I know he made some comments about he doesn't want to be the face of the league. That's what they have Wemby for, and all these other things. So it's like, all right, if that's what y'all want to do, don't be mad when don't nobody pay y'all no attention. Like, it's weird to me for Anthony Edwards to say something like that too, and then stick around and be pressed about having all of these shoe commercials and all this other stuff. But then you don't want to be the face of the league. You don't want to act like that. You got to pick and choose. Like, you can't do both. And like, this just looks like somebody who this is supposed to be his 21st year making the All-Star team, and you can't even dress in the pictures. Like, I wouldn't even put him in a picture. Like, he wouldn't have even been there for me. So I just thought it was real tacky for him to do something like that. I don't know what his reasoning is, but whatever it is, it doesn't matter because it was just a tacky move. And to take away that opportunity from somebody else to take his spot. Same with Anthony Edwards, for him to take away for somebody else to have that spot and then really act like you don't care about it is just an effed up situation. So I know it doesn't seem like it's a big deal to certain people, but karma always comes around one way or the other. So I don't know what form it's going to come in, especially because I do believe both of these were malicious. Again, I don't know these people personally. That's just my own opinion. I think they both knew in advance they weren't going to play, and they should have did something different, in my opinion.
Elite.
They earned the All-Star thing. I'm about to say, yeah, y'all. Some guy like Octavia said, some people dressed up to take the pictures. Some people didn't. I think that's just more so the biggest thing than more so it being that he didn't play. It was more so like the picture thing, because like 40 years from now, unless there's words at the bottom of this picture, he look like you can interpret this picture 100,000 different ways. Like, he looked like he's the coach of the team / the team captain of the team and all of that. He's not even playing, and he definitely knew he wasn't playing, things like that. So just like we said a few weeks ago on the show, people pay good money to see a good product, and who's to say somebody didn't pay their last X amount of dollars to go to the All-Star game to see LeBron James dunk the basketball, or Anthony Edwards make a play. So I just think it's putting everybody before yourself, but I can only tell you how I would handle it. So, but I definitely see where the critique is coming from.
Wilson.
Both of them was wrong, man. Like, y'all are Olympians. You know what's right and what's wrong. Because I'm sure nobody had any issue, publicizing anything else that they do. Brian, you knew you weren't going to play. Could have gave your spot up. Like, it doesn't change that you got folk, you got your spot or whatever, but you've been around long enough to know it. And you haven't been around long enough to even sit out a All-Star game. Like, that shouldn't even be within like your mental space right now, sir. Like, you're still on the way up. You got two folks on the opposite end of the spectrum. But yeah, that's just kind of where I'm at with it. Is you could have threw the uniform on to take the pictures if you want to take the pictures. Otherwise, just don't take the pictures or whatever. And I know I've seen, also social media, if you want to go, of course, reference, I guess, the time Kobe did it and he was in a suit and stuff like that. And that's great, man. That's wonderful. But if I have to hear year 20 every 10 seconds for anything that happens all year long, bro, just you could have put the uniform. Like, it's people shouldn't be up in arms because people feel that way. But yeah, just you're old enough to know better. Another one, you have not accomplished enough yet in this league for that to. I don't even understand how that entered your headspace. If you're hurt, of course. But come on, y'all. Like this is exactly why we're here anyway with these weird formats with the game. Like, treat the game with the respect it deserves and keep it moving. Otherwise, you end up kind of, every year that goes by, you take a step closer to look at the NFL's weekend for what that used to be to what it is now. Nobody cares about it anymore. Like, they're playing dodgeball, flag football. It's just nonsense. Like, don't keep walking towards that place. Just don't.
Yeah, it was unprofessional. Let's just call it what it is. LeBron, you knew you was banged up before the All-Star week began. Just say you're not gonna play, man. So Adam Silver will get on the horn and get somebody like Norman Powell. Kind of, he fits what I was just saying. Like, this might have been his only chance to crack the All-Star lineup. You know what I mean? And you took that from him because I'm pretty sure he was up next. You know what I'm saying? Especially with the season the Clippers not had in the first half. And he's actually earned it. Like, he's been balling. This might have been his only chance to even get in the All-Star stage, man. You know what I mean? And he went to school at UCLA, California, man. All his people thought that would have been huge for him. And you took that away. Now, I get it. If you hurt, you hurt. I'm not even about to question it because I'm not a medical. I'm not the team doctor. I don't know. I don't do all that. People lying about injuries, man. Like Octavia said, karma get them soon enough. And more than likely, it'll probably be a permanent injury that finish it off. And then, live with that. You know what I mean? But I'm not going to get into if it's people saying it was BS or he just ain't want to play, whatever. I'm not getting too deep into that. Just tell him days in advance you're not going to be able to play. And so he can get a replacement and make it happen. Anthony Edwards, not going to question his injury, same thing, but it's a little bit harder to take when we see you warming up, getting shots up before the game or not on All-Star weekend. You see what I'm saying? So optics. If you're don't even touch the ball. Just be out there talking. So you know what I'm saying? Like it just sends a bad message, man. And you just getting started. Like your run just getting started. You can't do that. And they can say, well, Kobe was in regular clothes or whatnot, but I'm pretty sure Kobe I don't know which year they're talking about, but I'm pretty sure he let it be known he wasn't going to play so somebody else can get that spot early. So it was still a sense of professionalism that was attached to it. You know what I mean? The thing that's kind of also bothering me that no one pointed out is they're going to mess it up for the next generation. It's already messed up. I heard earlier that before this current CBA we in, where the tax havens done took effect, the players got 57% of basketball-related income, BRIs. 57% of that. It done dropped to 50% in this current CBA. They lost $2 billion in that 7%. $2 billion. The players don't have in that pool. And if this type of stuff keeps going down with what we're seeing, it's going to get even less in the next negotiation. So the youngest that's coming up, the Wemby's, the young rookies like Stephen Castle with the Wizards, Bub, Sarr, and all those guys, if they become mega stars and superstars in the league and faces of the league and whatnot, they're not going to be able to reap the benefits that this current regime, who's slowly about to fade out, has been able to benefit off of. See, that's the obligation you're supposed to have when you're coming in these professional sports. You're supposed to lead the game better than when you found it. That's why the Jordans and all of them, with the Magics, the Birds, the Dr. J's, the Kareems, and all that. That's why they grinded. That's why you go back to the 60s. That's why Elgin, Big O, Jerry West, and all them, the first televised All-Star game, they sat out. so they can get all the resources and rights that they deserve as players. And the owners was cussing them out, threatening that they'll never work. Keep in mind, they're not making big money at that time in the NBA. They like, you can go get they had to work regular jobs a lot of times. Owners getting mad at them because it was a big deal. They losing out on a lot of money. TV people like, what's going on? And at that time, basketball wasn't what it is now. They were like the fourth sport behind football and baseball. Damn sure the third way behind those two. So it was just like, they about to cancel it. And they were like, all right. And finally the owners gave in. What do y'all want? We want XYZ. Put it on this paper right now. They had to fight, delay game. They put it on the paper. Cool. They went out and played. All of a sudden it changed everything for the players moving forward. They had a union. They had physicians to help them out. Trainers started coming in. Free agency, more money. It was just a whole lot of things that got the ball rolling to what it is today. And people are messing it up because of their own, whatever they're going through or whatever issues business-wise they may have with the higher-ups in the league. Who knows, man? Who knows what's going on, man? We can't speak on it unless they speak on it. But regardless, man, you have an obligation to always be professional. You know what I mean? Because let's be for real. If the owner said the hell with it, ain't no more NBA, they're going to be straight. They're billionaires. Only a select few players would be able to ride off in the sunset and be straight. But what about the other 90, 95%? And there's only so many jobs overseas or whatnot. You see what I'm saying? It's a way to do things, man. I just feel like both of those ways were just tacky, to be honest, man. You know what I mean? So, and it just sets a bad precedent, you know what I mean? So I hope the youngins that coming up scene and kind of be on the other side, like, yo, we're going to do our job and make it do what it do, man. So hopefully they do what they're supposed to do. All right, we're going to move over to the rapid fire before we get up out of here. We're going to move over to Kevin Durant. We all heard about the rumors that the Warriors actually inquired about trading for him, and then he shut that down. Both former Warriors general manager Bob Myers and head coach, they said criticism was the reason why they believed that he didn't want to rejoin Golden State for a second time. Quote, I don't blame Kevin one bit for not wanting to rerun things here. Kerr told ESPN last week he took so much ish for like, oh, you're jumping on the bandwagon. And then he's finals MVP 2 years in a row. It's like he still gets criticized. For Durant, the reason is much simpler. He didn't want to move and uproot his life in Phoenix during the middle of the season. Quote, he said, people talk crazy about me all the time. Durant told ESPN, that's not the reason why I didn't want to come back. I just didn't want to get traded midway through the season. It was nothing against my time with the Warriors, or I heard because I don't like Draymond. At the end of the day, I just didn't want to move, and I wanted to see it through with my team in Phoenix and see what we could do with the rest of the season. I'm glad I'm still here. Octavia, your thoughts on Kevin Durant kind of elaborating on why he didn't want to go back to Golden State?
I mean, I don't think we'll ever know 100%, but I believe it's a mixture of all of it, to be fair. It's a mixture of, I mean, he could say people say crazy things about him all the time, but he takes a lot of things very, very personal as well. So I'm sure that had some type of thought process within him moving or not moving. And then again, I don't blame you. Like, I wouldn't want to have to move all the freaking time either, so I understand that aspect of it. And then, of course, I don't care what you say. You can't downplay the situation that happened between him and Draymond. He's gone on record and talked about it. So why would he want to be there again? So I think it's a mixture of all three. And, it is what it is. He didn't want to go back. He has the luxury of not having to go back in this instance, being the type of player that he is, and he can say, I don't want to go there, and they're not going to send him. And then, so, I mean, it is what it is. I'm not surprised that he has some type of feelings about it. I'm sure he's going to try to downplay it and say he just wants to stick it out and see what happens with the Suns. But we've all seen the Suns play this year. It's not looking too great right now. So, but I mean, it is what it is at this point. But I do think it's a mixture of all three of those things.
Malik.
Here we go. I'm here.
Okay.
Nah, I might say I was still talking on mute. Yeah, Kevin Durant. Like I said in the last round, just the decisions you make and the things you give your time to. Kevin Durant came out on record and said why he doesn't want to be there. of course, anything other than listening to the words he said is all speculation, and you can put two and two together, four and four together, however you want to do it. But none of us are him. We can only just see it, how we would view it, or how someone else could make it make sense for us. But to put out a statement to say anything at all, and not just tell people, mind your business, go along with your day, because he also is in position to do that too, at the level of which he's played, at how he can step away from the game, and be okay, and just the legacies he's left. So saying anything at all is respectful to both organizations. If this was 2K, his team chemistry grade to go up, because he said the right things, concerning his teammates, and having them trust him, saying he want to stick it out. So he won on the words he said, won on all cylinders. Is that how he feels? None of us know, but he's gonna play, and he's gonna, and 80-90% of the games he's gonna be the first person to 20 points on his team. So I like watching him play basketball.
Wilson.
Yeah, I mean, that's cool that he came out and said something. But I mean, I'd love to revisit this as soon as the season's over. See where he ends up landing. 'Cause, well, technically, he got one more year in Phoenix. I think technically it's going to be an expiring. We know that he didn't re-up, and yeah, as Octavian and Lee alluded to, like it could be all those things, but we'll see where. Like I said, I'm interested in revisiting this whole thing after this season. I'm interested in seeing where he ends up landing, because we know Phoenix doesn't have. We know the situations Phoenix is in. The same place they were in terms of moves they could or couldn't make. The same place you wouldn't be after the season. Some of that stuff doesn't really change in terms of your flexibility. But yeah, I mean, I get the statement. I don't think he needed to say anything, but yeah, man, like again, it's just
Not sure, to be fair, it was a sit down interview when they asked him the question, so
right.
It wasn't like he tweeted it out, or they just asked him about it.
Right. And again, in that context, right, you just answered the question. Yeah, I still think most of the issue there, from what it seems like to me, was just that obviously with, Brad having a no trade clause and him getting to be like, no, I think during that time we're talking about, you mentioned not going to want to uproot your family over and over again. Same thing could be said for somebody that doesn't have those same responsibilities. Maybe you also just don't want to move in the middle of the year. That said, I don't think that issue's all the way done. We'll revisit after the season's over, because Phoenix only has a certain limited number of moves. And we'll see what that looks like. But yeah, I think the biggest thing should be trying to figure out, like, Phoenix is a great example of one of those teams that's touching the apron of how limited someone's moves are once you decide to do something. That's kind of where I'm at with all of it. But yeah, I mean, I just didn't take too much stock in it either way. Like you said, it was a response to a question. Speculation to be speculation. Bottom line is they got Jimmy Butler. He's still in Phoenix. We'll see how things shake out.
Yeah, for me, man, just take the man for his word. You know what I'm saying? Because one thing about Kevin, he's not one when he don't bite his tongue. He gonna tell it like it is. Whether people think sometimes he come off as sensitive or not, with certain things, he gonna say what's exactly on his mind, and that's honestly refreshing in this PC world. So you know exactly where he stands. So I kind of believe him. I'm not gonna speculate more because we don't know the details, but I kind of believe him, because think about it. I mean, man, he close to our age, man. I'm 40, he's 36. Man, you get tired of moving. Then you ain't, when you young, when you older, you're like, I ain't trying to do all that, man. Gotta make calls and moving trucks and this. I gotta find another spot, man, and do this and sell this house and move these cars and get this family, it's just, come on, man. I'm trying to chill. And he laid back. He just want to hoop and do what he do. So at this stage, and he done moved around a lot. Let's call it with OKC, Brooklyn, Golden State, Phoenix. Just to go back, it's like, you like, nah. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's a lot, because guess what? And at the end of the day, you can go there it doesn't guarantee you're going to win. So other than that, what's the incentive in going? So, no, I definitely kind of believe him in the sense, man. So we'll see how everything plays out. Last question before we get up out of here on the WNBA side. The Connecticut Sun denied guard Marina Mabrey's request to be traded, a move that she asked for earlier this month. Mabrey arrived in Connecticut last summer after requesting a trade from the Chicago Sky prior to the All-Star break. She averaged 14.4 points and 4.1 assists in 2024. Mostly operating as the first player off the bench for the Sun, who pushed the Minnesota Lynx to 5 games in the WNBA semifinals. Mabrey's agent, Marcus Crenshaw, of the Fan Agency, fired back at the franchise decision in a statement provided to ESPN Tuesday. In this current age of women's empowerment and support of the players, the CT Sun threatening to force Marina Mabrey to play for them after a trade request is mind-boggling. Why would anyone try to force someone to play on their team when they don't want to be there? It's counterproductive in a ton of ways, and everyone we have spoken to is perplexed by how they are handling Marina after trading away Hall of Fame caliber players. The coach parted ways, no free agents return, and they are doing all they can to try and force Marina to stay when she clearly doesn't want to be there. It's interesting. Sun President Jennifer Rosati told ESPN that the organization decided it wasn't in our best interest to move her because of the value that we gave up to get her, but also that we place on her. The Suns sent their 2025 first-round pick, a 26 pick swap, as well as guards Rachel Banham and Mariah Jefferson to Chicago to acquire Mabrey. Yeah, Malik, your thoughts?
How long has she been there? I'm about to say,
She just got traded there last year.
yeah, I'm about to say it hasn't even been. Well, I mean, okay, let's say they force her to play. Does she go Jimmy Butler style, and does she go rogue? 12 points, 10 points, just on the floor. Or does she hoop? Is she there for the love of the game? Is she there for money? Like, it's just a cat and mouse thing that's going on, a chessboard thing that's going on. Now it's her versus the owners, and on her end, it probably never was supposed to be like this or get played out like this because people have been traded from there before. But it's just like you can't really. I mean, you can fine her for not playing, but can you fine her for not being productive while she's on the floor if she does indeed play? So just a lot of questions.
Okay, Wilson.
Man, I'm this one got me. I'm perplexed and stuck on this one. I know they've gotten rid of some people in Connecticut, and clearly they're going through a lot of stuff over there. Have we seen anybody just not play? Like, just wholeheartedly just not play at all because a request was denied? On the W side?
I don't even think you can make that happen on the W.
That's what I'm saying. It's like it feels real other league. Like, I don't see that flying on this side of things.
Yeah, they ain't gonna fly.
Like, this is, yeah, you don't, and no knock on Marina, but you're not the type of player that could possibly even pull it. Like, nah, this is just no. This is nuts to me, honestly. Yeah, like you would be in Connecticut until your contract's up or until they move you. Like I hate to break it to you, but it's not like like Alyssa. Yeah, just that's bro. Like you're tripping. I'm sorry. Like, and it's a trade request. Like I think some stuff's getting lost. Like it is a business. It is a request. It can be denied. It is a trade request. You're not at a position to where you can demand a trade. Yeah, like honestly, what serves you best is you go into this year, you hoop, get yourself some leverage, and then maybe you got something. But as of right now, no. Like that's okay. You have a trade request. It's denied. Like, that's it.
You know what? Didn't Skylar have a situation like a few years ago?
I
I
want
think
to
it was
say
for
so.
her. She had a, but it was wrong.
It was revolving around her pregnancy, though, right?
Yeah, but it was something I gotta look more into it. But I think they still kind of didn't let her play. It was something weird or whatnot, and she got away about it. But regardless, yeah, you go and finish. I just thought that just popped in my head as something similar.
Yeah, and the only reason I discounted that was just because of the pregnancy part of it with Skylar, and I think even that was just toxic between her and the team, where like they wouldn't let her come back to work out or whatever. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on, but as it pertains to Marina Mabry, yeah, I just don't see this having like any real legs or anything. You requested a trade, it's denied. Like the drafts soon. Um, we'll see what else Connecticut adds. Like we all do know, whatever your roster looks like in the W right now means nothing between now and training camp. Like, so just keep that in mind. Maybe your tune changes by training camp because all the stuff that you take care of is not there. We don't know, but yeah, it's a request. I think people got to remember these are businesses. It is a request. Only certain types of players are able to make trade demands across sports. This is a request that has been formally denied, and that's where I left it.
Yep, I'll take it.
I like that differentiation of trade request and trade demand. Like you can only request, you can't demand. But correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't she do something like? Didn't she request to be traded from Chicago?
Yeah,
And that's how she got to
yeah,
Connecticut?
and they gave up a lot for it too.
Right. So it's getting real Jimmy Butler-ish, and I don't like it. But yeah, I think Wilson said it all really. Like it's a request. I mean, I think she just saw all her friends leaving and she's like, I'm just here all alone. I want to leave too. And they're like, no. So I never understand a lot of times with these athletes at times, and I get it sometimes when it comes down to you're really trying to get paid your worth. I understand that. But when you sign a contract for stuff, like most of the times you have to sign and do what you signed off on in the contract. Like a normal person, like I sign a contract, I have to fulfill said contract. I just can't be like, yeah, I don't want to do this no more. And if I do, there are consequences behind that. So I mean, I don't understand why people don't think that. Like you both have said, I've never seen somebody demand to be moved in the W and it actually has happened. To like this great of a deal where now she has her agent making statements. Not saying she had her agent make a statement, but her agent is making statements about why keep somebody who doesn't want to be there and all this other stuff. But yeah, I mean, she like Wilson also said, she just need to hoop. Like, think about it like from a positive standpoint. Like, all of these other pieces are gone, so obviously, you're probably going to be the piece that they want to build around. So you should be the one out there playing hard and trying to, maybe parlay yourself somewhere else eventually if you feel like it's not going to work out there. But doing all this ain't gonna make nobody want you. That ain't gonna make it no better. So I'm definitely interested to see how the saga ends or how it continues.
Yeah, I'm just looking at her contract. It says in 2025 this season, Mabry will earn a base salary of 210 grand while carrying a cap hit of 210 grand and a dead cap value of 210 grand. Yeah, in the WNBA, that's like a max contract. In the NBA, that's basically a max contract. Like, you're not going anywhere.
Because I think they said Caitlin's making like 78.
But she's a rookie. So
yeah,
I get to that next contract, she'll probably get that money, if not more. But at the same time, yeah, you call some you're going to hurt the franchise, and like Wilson said, it's a request. I was taught this rule. OG taught me about business. He said, man, you can't make demands till you're in demand. See what I'm saying? And I think a lot of people get that confused because we live in a very selfish, self-centered time where everybody think their bubble applies to the rest of the world, and that's not the case. Don't nobody give a damn about your bubble. She's a productive player, but she's not one of them ones where they say, I want to move. You like, damn. Like Asia said, that's tough. You see what I'm saying? Like, you it's a lot you got to deal with that because she's the face not just of the franchise but the league right now. You got to look at that type of thing. For you to just up and say that after they just traded for you, nah, like organizations like, nah, we can't even afford to do that. So she has this year, and then she has a third year on our current contract. She'll be 29. She can't even they can't even afford that. That's basically you're gutting your franchise for what you gave up to get her. Like, all right, it's going to look like it's going to be rough because Alyssa and everybody left. DeWanna left. That's also an opportunity for you to hoop. Also, the WNBA is the wrong league to play these games with. You done seen some top players just all of a sudden just disappear. And be like, what happened? For whatever reason. You see what I'm saying? And it's just like, they will sit her if they could sit you and you have no production. Then when your contract's up, how are you gonna get more money? They're gonna play hardball. You see, like you playing a dangerous game, and I think because of other movement, players are playing follow the leader. But you also gotta understand, most of them free agents and stuff like that. Like Jewel, didn't she request to be traded like a year ago and stuff like that? And she just got moved now. Then she just go to the Aces. Jewel Lloyd. See what I'm saying? Like she ain't get her. She demanded that. No, you gonna play. You gotta play. Like we can't move you. We not moving you until something right for us, and that's what it is. So you gotta. Man, we gotta get back to being professional, though. Like every situation is not gonna be the best, though. Like it is what it is. It's business, but you owe it to yourself to always move accordingly and act professionally. This is also a chance for you. It's an opportunity for you. All right, you know what? Fine. Maybe you ain't gonna win. I'm a hoop. I'm a ball. And then when my contract up, I'm gonna need all of that. Pay me the max dollars because I'm in my prime. I balled. I'm an all-star. I'm an all WNBA player. I feel like that's how she should be looking at it, man. Like, and then like move you for who after we just gave up. Do it again. And that'll be your second time. And if I'm another team, why would I want to trade for you? After the last two stops, you demanded a trade. So what happens if we make moves here? You gonna want to be out again? Like, don't copy them. Don't copy the fellas, man. Don't copy the fellas, though. They're gonna get y'all in trouble, man. I'm just keeping it 100. Y'all not close to being there yet. Like they moving like that because they on the books for like 9 figures. That's tough to deal with at times. You know, it's like you can't just get rid of that. You know what I'm saying? So you got to make a lot of moves. 6-figure contract? Oh, that's easy. Come on, man. They can take that L, keep it moving, but you're gonna be out of a career because now they're gonna talk to all the other teams, the higher ups, and be like, "Yo, let that be gone." Like, who's a former max player that got on everybody damn nerves? A certain center that y'all don't hear about no more. Cam Beige. Man, have you seen her on the back of a milk carton ever since? And no disrespect to Mabry, Cam Beige was one of them ones before she started tripping. Don't become that another example. Don't become another statistic, man. It's not worth it. Just be professional ball.
That's it, man. And again, who knows what that roster looks like by go time when the year starts. Lastly, when a few ladies in the league in the max contract, you're gonna be playing on your contract. Like, hate to break it to you, you'll be playing on your deal this year. But we appreciate y'all as always. Don't forget to get over to thefocustv.com. Then obviously, if you have a Roku television device, all you have to do is add the channel, type in the Focus TV search box, double tap OK on the remote, and the channel has been added. For everyone here, we will see y'all next week.